Yo, YouTube, what's up with your boy? Sports and Fitness Rants. I'm back, guys. Click that like button. Subscribe to my channel. What's up, y'all? Welcome back, guys. Welcome back, man. Got another great video for you guys today. As usual, man, you guys know the deal on this channel. It's all about setting the record straight, stopping the lies, stopping the narratives, stopping them from rewriting history, guys. And in this video, I want to talk about a top 10 point guards of all time list that I saw on the internet floating around. I believe the website is called Give Me Sport. I believe it's called. And this is the second time that I've seen a list from them that doesn't make any sense to me, doesn't add up. And we're going to talk about in this video because they did a top 10 greatest point guards of all time list, and there was no Jason Kidd on there. No Jason Kidd in the top 10 point guards of all time. We're going to talk about in this video, guys, because to me, Jason Kidd is easily a top 10 point guard of all time. And I've told you, in my opinion, Jason Kidd is arguably a top 5 all-time point guard, guys. If you really break it down, and we're going to talk about in this video, I'm going to tell you guys who they had above Jason Kidd because Jason Kidd was on the list. So these guys are obviously greater than Jason Kidd in their opinion. And half of this list I don't really agree with. Some of the guys I do agree with. We're going to talk about in this video because I think Jason Kidd is easily a top 10 point guard of all time, guys. Man, I want to thank you guys, everyone across the world. Everyone across the states has been supporting my channel. Once again, guys, I am truly humbled, man, by all support. It really means a lot, guys. Shout out to everybody in the membership, everyone that comes through, man. And like I said, the live streams, the comments, all that stuff, guys. It means a lot. Thank you. And you guys know what to do, man. Turn the volume all the way up. Hit that play button. Remember, these videos are for educational purposes. And let's roll. So, yes, guys, like I said, man, I wanted to do a video on this top 10 point guards list I saw and how Jason Kidd was not on this list. And I was blown away that Jason Kidd was not on a top 10 point guards of all time list. So like I said, we're going to go over some of the names that were on there and guys that I agree with and a lot of these guys, some of these guys I don't agree with. Now, once again, anyone's entitled to have their opinion, man. I hate to say this kind of stuff because I feel like it's redundant and it's dumb when people, I'm entitled to have my own opinion. Everyone's entitled to have their own opinion. Yeah, that's great, man. And I've told you, though, in order for your opinion to mean anything, to be worth a damn, you have to be able to support your opinion with facts and evidence. I told you, you can't just say, oh, I feel this way or this without being able to support it with any evidence, right? I talked about these weird flat earthers out there. These people really believe the earth is flat. They really believe that, and they're going to stand on that. And that's great. That's your opinion. Fine. Explain it to us. Explain how the earth is flat. Because you can't do that. You can't explain. There is no way to explain it. So, yeah, you can have that opinion, but you sound like a fool and you look like an idiot standing on that with no evidence or anything to support your opinion. Same thing with a lot of these people out here. They give these opinions, and then they'll just say, oh, it's my opinion, man. I can have that opinion. No, you can't have that opinion. Your opinion ain't worth a damn, and I have to respect your opinion because your opinion is stupid, and it's not steeped in actuality, in reality, in facts, in evidence. It's not. It's just your feelings and your emotions. That's not a valid opinion, ladies and gentlemen, all right? That's number one off the jump. So like I said, guys, I was looking at this list, top 10 point guards of all time. And once again, man, lists are lists. So they had, like I said, there was no Jason Kidd, and I was disgusted by that because to me, Jason Kidd is easily a top 10 point guard of all time. Once again, we're supposed to be educating people out here. The burden is on you fools out there with these websites and these pages. And like I said, the burden's on y'all, man, to keep the facts to educate people out there and stop making all these things about your emotions and your feelings and some weird statements. They make it about stats or some accolades. They never talk about the impact of these players. So, number one, they had Magic Johnson. I think we can all agree, Magic Johnson, the greatest point guard of all time. There's no debate here. There's no question here. Magic Johnson all time, number one. All right, no problem there. Number two, they had Steph Curry. I got no problem with that. Now, we know that Steph Curry is not a traditional, quote-unquote, point guard per se. He's more of like a combo guard. I've talked about this before. You know, he's more of a shooter than a point guard, right? And I've told you, if we had to just go pure point guard skills, point guard play, Steph Curry's not a top 5 point guard. But as far as him being a point guard, playing the point guard position, that's what he's listed as, a point guard. In that regard, you got Steph Curry number 2. No problem about that, man. Number 3, they had Oscar Robertson. At number 3, I have no problem with Oscar Robertson being number 3. Then I believe they had Isaiah Thomas number 4. They had John Stockton number 5. Then I believe they had, who was number 6, man? I'm trying to remember who 6 was. I'm sorry, guys. I'm trying to remember the list off the top of my head. I just looked at it briefly this morning, and the only thing that I remembered is I know Jason Kidd wasn't on there. I want to say, oh, excuse me. I want to say they had Jerry West, number 3. Then they had Oscar Robertson. Then they had Isaiah Thomas. Then they had John Stockton. Then they had Steve Nash, I believe, at number 7. This is where they lost me. Steve Nash at number 7. Then I believe they had Chris Paul at number 9. Russell Westbrook, I believe, at number 10. And, no. 7, 8, 9. And then I think, wait, so it was, I know I'm all over the place, guys. Just bear with me here. They had Isaiah Thomas at number 6, I believe. Then I want to say it was Nash at number 7. Then Chris Paul, number 8. Yes, Russell Westbrook at number 9. And they had Bob Cousy at number 10. All right. And like I said, this is where they lost me with the Steve Nash stuff. You lost me. Now, I've done a debate. You guys can go check out the debate on my playlist. I've done a debate against Steve Nash, Jason Kidd versus Steve Nash. It's me versus NNB Sports. You guys know him from the Sunday Lives. We did a formal debate last year or whatever it was. Steve Nash versus Jay Kidd. I don't think there's any way in hell you could put Steve Nash above Jason Kidd. I don't see it at all, guys. Don't see it at all. So I would never have a Steve Nash above Jason Kidd. That's number 1. Number 2, how the hell is Chris Paul above Jason Kidd? Chris Paul's above Jason Kidd? Really? No way in hell. Russell Westbrook is above Jason Kidd now? When did Russell Westbrook pass Jason Kidd at point guard? I don't know. I mean, listen, I'll take Russell Westbrook over Chris Paul. To me, Chris Paul on this list of top 10 players, to me, Chris Paul might be the most overhyped player on that list. Overrated. I don't like to use the word overrated too much, because I feel like it's losing its meaning. We use it all the time, I feel like. Excuse me. But Chris Paul's overrated, man. His defense is way overrated. This man's got like 8 or 9 all defensive. How the hell does he have that many all defensive teams? I'm baffled at Chris Paul having that many all defensive firsts, man. I just don't get that at all. Chris Paul's defense is so overrated, guys. This man is a passing lane extraordinaire. Gets the steals. No doubt about it, man. Great for Chris Paul. To me, Chris Paul's best version was New Orleans Chris Paul. To me, that was the best version of himself. The last couple of years that he was on New Orleans, when he played with like guys like David West and Tyson Chandler was on that team. I'm trying to remember some of the guys that was on that team. But to me, that was the best version of Chris Paul. But his defense is completely overrated. Give me Jason Kidd's defense over Chris Paul's defense any day of the week. The impact from Jason Kidd's defense is there. Jason Kidd led several number 1 defenses. The New Jersey Nets were the number 1 defense 2002. Jason Kidd was the leader of that defense, man, the best defender on that team. There were no big-time defenders on that 2002 New Jersey Nets team, but they were the number 1 defense in the league that year, guys. The number 1 defense. Then the next year, they were the number 1 defense again, led by Jason Kidd. Once again, Chris Paul never led a top 3 defense, never led a top 5 defense in his career. So when you talk about his defense, completely overrated, overblown to me. Yes, he creates steals, great for Chris Paul. But you're talking about on-ball defense, the impact. Jason Kidd defense to me much more impactful, and the proof is there. He's led several top 5 defenses in his career. The Phoenix Suns in 2000 were a top 5 defense, led by Jason Kidd. You remember that team? They had Anthony Hardaway on that team. Rex Chapman was on that team. Clifford Robinson was on that team. An older Kevin Johnson was on that team as a backup behind Jason Kidd. A rookie Sean Marion was on that team. Jason Kidd led that team to a top 3 defense. 2001, the Phoenix Suns, I believe, were a top 5 defense, led by Jason Kidd. So once again, the impact of Jason Kidd's defense is there because not only his defense that impacts that side of the ball, but his rebounding combined with his defense, second to none. Chris Paul can't sniff the rebounding and defense combined of Jason Kidd. Can't sniff it. Was Chris Paul a better passer than Jason Kidd? I don't believe so. I think Jason Kidd was a much more spectacular, greater passer than Chris Paul was. Jason Kidd was Lob City before Lob City. Go look at the highlights from Jason Kidd on the 2002 Nets, the 2003 Nets, the 2004 Nets. You go look at Jason Kidd throwing alley-oops to guys like Kenyon Martin, alley-oops to guys like Richard Jefferson, and then a little bit later when Vince Carter played for New Jersey Nets for a couple of years. Go look at some of the passes that Jason Kidd is throwing to these guys. Insane. That was Lob City before Lob City. All right? Jason Kidd was doing half-court alley-oops. I mean, full-court bounce passes with the touch on it, the backspin. To me, Jason Kidd, easily a top 5 passer in NBA's history. To me, he's a much more greater passer than Chris Paul, a much more spectacular passer than Chris Paul. Not to say that Chris Paul is not a good passer, a great passer. Great assist man. Chris Paul is a legit traditional point guard. Better score than Jason Kidd, a better shooter than Jason Kidd, absolutely. But that's where it ends for Chris Paul. That's literally where it ends. Leadership, give me Jason Kidd. Motor, give me Jason Kidd. Durability, toughness, give me Jason Kidd, obviously. Chris Paul's always hurt. And we talk about coming through when it matters most. Jason Kidd gets the most out of his team. He galvanizes his team way more than Chris Paul ever could. Chris Paul's played with all kinds of talent and still could never get, past over the hump. Where was Chris Paul in the 2021 NBA Finals? When his team was up, weren't they up 2-0 in that finals? And then they lost, 4 games in a row? I mean, come on, man. Jason Kidd was going against a dynasty Lakers, going against a dynasty Spurs in the finals. And in that 2003 NBA Finals against the San Antonio Spurs, Jason Kidd led that Nets team to a 2 games apiece tie. And in Game 5, the Nets had a chance to win that game. And some of the Spurs players came through, man. But Jason Kidd, man, impact is there. So there's no way in hell Chris Paul's above Jason Kidd, in my opinion. Not even close. I'm not putting Chris Paul above Jason Kidd ever. Now they had Russell Westbrook above Jason Kidd. Hell no, once again. Russell Westbrook, I'll take over Chris Paul. If you told me Russell Westbrook was top 10, I don't have necessarily a problem with that. But like I said, what's your top 10 looking like? And there's no way in hell I'm putting Russell Westbrook anywhere above Jason Kidd. That's insane. So let's think about it again. We break down the games. Is Russell Westbrook a greater scorer than Jason Kidd? Yeah, we can make that case. But once again, Russell Westbrook's out there chucking them shots. Jason Kidd, the highest amount of shots he took in the season, I believe, was 15 shots a game in a season. But on average, Jason Kidd's taking 10, 11, 12 shots a game. Jason Kidd was, once again, a traditional point guard, a pass-first player. Russell Westbrook is not necessarily a pass-first player. He is a whatever first player. You never know what Russell Westbrook. He go out there and start chucking up a bunch of shots. Russell Westbrook doesn't play under control like Jason Kidd does. Russell Westbrook doesn't have the overall game of a Jason Kidd. Rebound the ball, Russell Westbrook, a very good rebounder at that position, no doubt. But when we think about the eras that they played in, the late 90s into the early 2000s for Jason Kidd, and the rebounding prowess of someone like him during that time is much different than Russell Westbrook getting these, double-digit rebounds in this weak era of NBA where there's not as many traditional big men down low, the big bodies. There's a lot more spacing. Guys are chucking up all these long threes, so you're getting a lot of long rebounds now for these guys. It's not the same. Russell Westbrook is a really good rebounder, but to me, Jason Kidd was better. All right? Just a greater rebounder. So like I said, defense, not even close. This is my biggest problem with Russell Westbrook. The dude never made an all-defensive team. All them years that Russell Westbrook been in the league, all the athleticism that the body that Russell Westbrook, look at Russell Westbrook's body, the athleticism that he has. How the hell does this man never make an all-defensive team? You know how, guys? Because he never cared to. Never gave the effort like that on the defensive end. Just never was. He's focused on shooting the ball. He's focused on getting triple-doubles, and he's not focused on the right things. To me, if Russell Westbrook would take less shots, focus less on offense, if he would have been a Jason Kidd type player, focus more on assisting, focus more on defense, becoming a lockdown, stout defender, where Russell Westbrook made like 5 or 6 all-defensive teams in his career, right? He should have worked on the turnovers. He should have worked on his ball handling ability, his passing. Those are things he should have been working on. But Russell Westbrook, to me, looks like a player who never worked on a damn thing. He didn't work on his jump shot. He's regressed shooting the ball. Go look at Russell Westbrook's free throw percentages his first several years in the league, and then look what it became. This man was a mid-80s free throw shooter. I don't know what happened to this dude. Not working on his game. Russell Westbrook just relying on his athleticism. That's why Russell Westbrook, to me, is underachieved. With all the genetics and the gifts that he was given, you never make an all-defensive team? Insane, man. Like I said, he had all the athleticism over a Jason Kidd, but he didn't have the motor, the heart, the grind, the grit of a Jason Kidd, man. He didn't have the leadership of a Jason Kidd. Russell Westbrook ain't no leader, man. And I like Russell Westbrook, man. He hustles. He goes out there and gives effort, but he doesn't play under control like Jason Kidd did. Jason Kidd was usually always under control. Russell Westbrook, the complete opposite. So when we think about that in that regard, I'm not putting Russell Westbrook above Jason Kidd. That's insane to me. Like I said, the rebounding, the defense, the overall floor general that Jason Kidd was, Russell Westbrook ain't that dude, man. You put Russell Westbrook on the 2002 New Jersey Nets, you think they're going to the NBA Finals, guys? No, not even close. They're not going to be a top defense with Russell Westbrook there, right? He's not taking either one of those teams to the finals, man. But if you put Jason Kidd on the 2012 Oklahoma City Thunder, you put Jason Kidd on the 2013, 14, 15, 16 Oklahoma City Thunder, Jason Kidd's going to get more out of those guys. He's going to make them greater than Russell Westbrook did. Right? He's going to enhance Kevin Durant, the Steven Adamses, the Kendrick Perkins, the Thavo Cephalosas, the Andre Robersons, like all the guys that played on that team, James Harden, anyone that played on those teams, Jason Kidd would have made them better. He would have maximized them. That wasn't Russell Westbrook, man. Not saying that he would have led them to a championship, but to me, they would have been better with Jason Kidd. And if you put Russell Westbrook on that New Jersey Nets team, they're not better, man. They're not going anywhere, right? Because they just don't have it like that. So there's no way I'm putting them above Jason Kidd. And then Steve Nash. To me, once again, Steve Nash, I'm not putting Steve Nash above Jason Kidd, man. If you told me Steve Nash is a top 10 point guard, got no problem with that. No problem with that at all. I like Steve Nash, right? I've given Steve Nash his props and credit on this channel. They try to knock his 2 MVPs. We get all of that. Jason Kidd should have won an MVP over Tim Duncan in that 2000 and, I don't know if it was 02 or 03. One of those seasons, to me, Jason Kidd, I don't have to use the word robbed, but Jason Kidd, to me, definitely was the MVP. I mean, the New Jersey Nets team that Jason Kidd was on, that he took the back-to-back finals, come on, man. Tim Duncan wasn't playing on a team like that, man. Jason Kidd should have definitely got that MVP. That was insane what he did. The New Jersey Nets haven't sniffed the finals since then. Not even sniffed it, man. So the impact that Jason Kidd had, the man should definitely have an MVP that season. But regardless, those 2 MVPs do not put Steve Nash above Jason Kidd. All right? Jason Kidd was 4 times consecutive All-NBA first team. I believe Steve Nash might have been 3 times All-NBA first team consecutively. And once again, it's just the overall game. Like I said, it's not even the stats or the accolades. Like I said, Steve Nash, an excellent assist man, great shooter. That's really all he has over Jason Kidd, is him shooting the ball. Dribbling the ball, I would say they're about even, man. Right? Steve Nash had really good handles. Passing the ball, give me Jason Kidd's passing over Steve Nash's. But scoring the ball, shooting, absolutely. Steve Nash, one of the elite shooters at that position of NBA's history. 50, 40, 90 guy, we get all of that, man. One of the elite shooters, knockdown shooter, free throws, all this stuff. Jason Kidd can't sniff Steve Nash shooting the basketball. We get that. But once again, the impact of Jason Kidd cannot be denied. His overall game at the point guard position, Steve Nash can't sniff the rebounding. To me, like I said, the defense of Jason Kidd, Steve Nash is a liability on defense. That's just a liability, man. That was never Jason Kidd. So give me Jason Kidd. Jason Kidd's longevity was greater than Steve Nash's, better than Russell Westbrook's. Just Chris Paul's got pretty solid longevity. But Jason Kidd, at 37 years old, was on the Dallas Mavericks team that won a championship. And Jason Kidd wasn't just there along for the ride. He was a starter, a contributor. He led the entire postseason in 2011, guys, in assists. He led the whole postseason in assists. So impact was there at 37 years old with Jason Kidd. Steve Nash ain't doing that at 37 years old, man, because he didn't have the overall game to have an impact. Jason Kidd was guarding LeBron James in the 2011 finals. Could you see Steve Nash doing that? Could you see Russell Westbrook doing that? Or Chris Paul? These guys couldn't do that. But Jason Kidd at 6'4", about 210, 15 pounds, was solidly built Jason Kidd. And like I said, he had the motor and the defensive skills to go against someone like LeBron James in a finals and have an impact. That's Jason Kidd. So to me, Jason Kidd's arguably a top 5 all-time point guard. Absolutely, definitely a top 10 all-time point guard. Like I said, they had Magic Johnson, Steph Curry. Now, Jerry West, you guys know, I look at Jerry West as a shooting guard. I don't look at Jerry West as a point guard. So I wouldn't have Jerry West in this conversation. So if you take Jerry West out of the conversation, then you have Magic Johnson, Steph Curry, Oscar Robertson, Isaiah Thomas, and John Stockton as top 5 point guards in NBA's history. Now, if that's your list, if that's the list, I don't have a problem with that. We can argue John Stockton versus Isaiah Thomas. We can argue, Oscar Robertson versus Isaiah Thomas, or, Stockton and Oscar Robertson. You can argue and debate some of these guys. We can debate Jason Kidd with John Stockton. We can debate, this guy with that guy. They didn't have Walt Clyde Frazier on this list either. I'm not saying that Walt Clyde Frazier needs to be in the top 10 point guards of all time list, but damn, you ain't got Walt Clyde Frazier on here? Walt Clyde Frazier was one of the great two-way players of point guards in NBA's history. Two-time champion. I mean, you could argue he could have won the Finals MVP one of those years. But no Walt Clyde Frazier on here. They had Bob Cousy at number 10. I got no problem with Bob Cousy being top 10 on here, the top 10. I just don't know how you could have Chris Paul. I don't think Chris Paul is a top 10 point guard of all time, man. I just don't know. It's tough, like I said, to get him in there when you have the top 5 guys I just read off. Then you have someone like Jason Kidd. You got someone like Steve Nash. You got guys like Walt Clyde Frazier, Gary Payton. I mean, these guys weren't even on the list. Bob Cousy. I mean, it's just really tough, for me to say, this guy's a top 10 dude, man. I just, like I said, to me, I was more concerned with Jason Kidd not being on the list than the actual numbers, 1 through 10, and who was ranked where. That really is irrelevant. But the fact that Jason Kidd wasn't even on here, insane to me. Like I said, I think I made a pretty good argument here over these other guys. Jason Kidd, Like I said, top 10 point guard all time. You guys know the deal, man. I'll catch you guys on the next one.